it's that time of the week again. It's time for Chit Chat Across the Pond. This is episode number 826 for December 21st, 2025. And I'm your host, Allison Sheridan. This week, our guest is Adam Angst of Tidbits. How you doing today, Adam?
I'm doing fine. Thank you.
We've discussed all our home travesties that are going on around us, homes and cars falling apart, but we're here to talk about some fun stuff.
Entropy. Entropy's a bitch.
It's just going to win. It's going to win in the end. So one of the articles you wrote in the last couple of weeks that really intrigued me was talking about settings controls on the iPhone, specifically about the phone. And we were talking about a couple of different articles, and I like what Adam said. He said, yeah, our collective audience might be old enough to remember phone calls. So this is...
That's quote phone calls.
Right.
Well, I mean, it's really true. I mean, like, you know, if people who are particularly like under 25, do they even know that these things work? I mean,
the phones
probably
exist.
Theoretically.
And we're back
But,
thinking about what it used to cost to call long distance, you know, it's $2 a minute.
MCI, switch to MCI.
All right, so
calling cards.
This may end up being a whine fest about iOS 26, and I think you and I are both usually optimistic about things, like to try new things, like to learn new things, and you know, try to go along with what the kind of things Apple's vision, but they seem to be making a few missteps on usability here. Would that be an accurate way to describe it?
Well, yes and no. I mean, so I've done a couple of articles because Apple really did a bunch of things in the phone app. Phone app hasn't gotten any attention for years, right? So those of us who do use the phone app have become accustomed to how it works. And so Apple decided to put a lot of attention into it in iOS 26, and they came up with an entirely new look. And for once, they didn't just shove it down our throats.
Right.
Yeah. Like liquid glass, yeah, fine, shove it down your throat, whatever. But for the new design, the new interface for the phone app, Apple gave us two views. Classic view, which is what everyone's used to pretty much, and unified view, which smushes some things together, and so there's not quite as many screens and things like that.
Now, before you go too far, I want to make my first whine about that, is it's not obvious how to switch between the two views, because my default phone view is favorites in classic view, and you can't switch to unified view from favorites. The button isn't there. You can only add things to favorites. So you have to tap on recents or, you have to tap on recents in order to change the view. So right away, they've made it hard, I think, for discoverability in some cases.
Yeah, in contacts, keypad, or favorites, you cannot change the view. You can only change the view in recents or when you're in unified view.
Once you're in unified view, you can.
No, when you're in unified view, you can only change it from calls. It's actually consistent. It's just sort of consistently weird.
Okay, so that's why number one. Just, the consistency is one of the things that's kind of
right. Well, so also there's kind of this interesting question. I mean, and I mean the iPhone has always had this issue of what is a setting that should be in an app, and what is a setting that should be in the settings app?
Yeah, right.
I don't have the answer to that, right? You know, that it seems pretty clear to me that that some things should be in one and some things are in another, and I don't really know what's right or wrong.
Right.
I mean, you can easily see there being in the settings app, a toggle for, are you in classic view or unified view? But no, there is not there. So you have to be in recents or calls, and you have to tap the little hamburger buttony thing at the top right, and then you can choose between unified and classic. So yeah, so it's a little weird. I mean, it is a little weird. I don't disagree with that.
Right. So to continue to set the stage in classic, we've got 4 buttons across the bottom: favorites, recents, contacts, keypads. I'm sorry, 5, and voicemail. So we've got 5 different tabs.
Right.
If we switch to the unified view, we only have 4: calls, contacts,
because it's unified
and a magnifying glass
and search.
Yeah. And it seems to be to make room for more for the big roundy buttons they want to have, as opposed to information that might help you.
Yeah, I mean, it's like there's Yeah, I mean, it is definitely more the liquid glass style
Right.
in unified view. I mean, you're still dealing with liquid glass in classic view. You know, that toolbar at the bottom is still a liquid glass control. You can kind of see through it and all that. But it's more of this is a little bit more of the liquid glass philosophy, which is Apple saying you should focus on the content, not the controls. So I don't know if I buy it one way or the other. Honestly, I mean, it's kind of six of one, half dozen of another.
Okay.
In my mind.
So I'm still trying to learn this. Favorites, recents, and voicemail end up under contacts. That's what's unified. And then we get
No. So when you're in classic view, favorites and recents merge
into unified,
into calls.
But
And
something else has to
voicemail,
disappear.
So voicemail goes into the menu, but if someone leaves you voicemail, it's also in recents in calls in Unified View. So Unified View basically subsumes favorites, recents, and voicemail.
Say that sentence one more time.
The calls screen in Unified View subsumes favorites, recents, and voicemail.
Okay, that's what I thought I said, but I'm sure I said it incorrectly because I was stumbling trying to say it. But okay, I got that. So all of this conversation up to right now would have been really useful this last week when I had a red badge on the telephone button and I could not find it. I was in Unified View and I went into calls and I look and there's a bunch of stuff that's colored red, but its missed calls are red. So I'm scrolling through, tapping into each one of those, and none of them are clearing that badge. And I couldn't figure out what it was. It turned out I had to go back. I went back to Unified View, and Classic View. That's when the voicemail button showed up, and the voicemail button had a red badge on it, and now I could find it. Had I realized that I could have gone up to voicemail from the hamburger menu while in Unified, I would have been able to find it. And actually scrolling a lot would have found it. But guess what? The button isn't red. The thing isn't red to match the red badge. It's blue when you haven't listened to it. It was a blue dot, not a red dot.
Yes, it's got a blue
so
dot.
I'm looking for red, but it's a blue dot. Okay. So anyway, now I think I got it. So if you're in Unified View, now you've got in the hamburger menu, not only do you switch between Classic and Unified, you've got menus for calls, missed, voicemail, and spam.
And see, here's the thing. Missed and voicemails are just filters.
Yeah.
So everything that's in missed and voicemails is also in calls.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. But spam is not a filter?
Spam is a filter. But I don't know how to evaluate spam because it only collects things that your carrier has decided are spam, and I have none.
Yeah,
I've never had any.
I'm showing none too, and I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 since Tuesday that I would have classified as spam.
Yeah, as I said, I don't have no idea what the carrier's definition of spam is in this regard. We got nothing. Neither of us have any. What's your carrier?
AT&T.
So mine's T-Mobile.
So
two of the likely three, are not classifying anything as spam as far as we can tell. So I think the whole spam thing is a bit of a red herring at the moment.
Yeah. No, there is one more thing in there. Manage filters. No. Yeah. Manage filtering.
Manage filtering.
And from there it says.
So if you tap that, you switch to the settings app. Yeah,
the first time I did it, it gave me a pop-up, but the second time I did it, now it went into the phone app. Yeah, so missed calls and voicemails from unknown numbers will be moved in the unknown callers list. I set that before. I'm setting it again. I have set that before, but it was off.
Yeah.
Now, while we're in there, I want to say something nice, though.
Okay.
Ask reason for calling on screen unknown callers. That is the bomb. That was one of the things they advertised was you could toggle that on, and if somebody calls you and you don't know who they are, you can let it talk to them and say, "Hey, let this person know why you're calling." I ended up finding out that my MacBook Air was ready at the Apple Store because of that, because it asked and it started typing down on screen. I was like, "Oh, I want this call," and I was able to talk to her.
So I had that on for a while. I'm still trying to figure out what it says.
Mm.
I don't know what it says. Like I don't know what the voice sounds like. I don't know what the words are.
Yeah.
But I will say it throws almost everyone. So what it basically does is it eliminates all telemarketers and anyone else who isn't really willing to push through.
Huh. Okay.
Um,
So maybe it's 'cause it was
everyone, I mean,
Apple.
because I had it on for a while. I had it on, yeah, Apple, of course, knows how to do it, right? Sure, they're the obvious ones, but all normal people are completely befuddled by this. They think they're talking to voicemail. They don't know how to respond. I ended up turning it off because I felt that it was sort of rude to, you know, anyone who's calling me, who's legitimate, who wants to talk to me, is already in a probably confused state if I don't know if they're not in my contact list, right?
Yeah, I think the problem
So
is, like, you have friends and stuff that aren't in your contacts or, acquaintances or whatever through all the races and everything. I don't wanna talk to anybody. I don't even wanna talk to people I know really on the phone. So I'm good with it. More people don't get through, the
in other
better.
words, you're young beyond your years.
Maybe, maybe.
Don't wanna talk to anybody. No, Tanya's the
Or
same
get
way.
off my
Like, I don't
lawn,
wanna
one or
talk
the
to
other.
anybody. Yeah, get off my phone.
Right.
So yeah, so no, right. I do have people who I don't want to be rude to them. In fact, like literally as we started talking, I got an email from a Tidbits reader. Or sorry, a phone call from a Tidbits reader, which I know because they left voicemail and I'm looking at the looking at the dictation or the transcription.
Right.
So like, but that I saw the name come through. It was a real person's name. It's obviously a real call, and and I think that message would have thrown them. Whereas they just got to leave voicemail in this case.
Okay.
So
I have an unusual
um,
area code that they swore to me everybody in LA would get this area code, or lots of people would get it over time, and I've had it for 20 years, and no, there's like 4 people have this area code. I rarely run into a real call. So you know how they do the spoofing, where they use
yeah.
your area code in the first couple of digits? I know if it's in my area code, that's gonna be spam. I've got my perfect spam filter. Starts with this area code, no, you're lying.
I'm just hosed because although I'm in the 607 area code, which is all central New York, the the um, because of students and relatively transient population for Cornell and Ithaca College, you can't ever bet on a person having a 607 area code.
Mm, okay.
That because people come and go from all over the country and all the time. So it just even someone who's been here for years won't have a
Well, no, but
a
so
607
if you
area
see a
code.
607, it's probably a lie. It's probably spam. Same as
Well, but it's either a lie or a real business.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
who actually has an actual phone. So
Maybe.
individuals, that's true. Yeah.
All right. Well, so
So
let's get back to
um,
something very specific you
yeah,
got into in your article on this issue of the new phone app.
yeah. So well, first of all, it's unified. I mean, the difference between classic and unified view is pretty significant. And I mean, I will really give Apple credit for giving us a choice. Um, because this doesn't happen very often, right? You really, really don't get a choice when the developers out there decide that, oh, we've come up with a much better way to do this.
The only exception
After I sat down,
is reverse scrolling on the trackpad. They still let people do it wrong.
yes,
They should have made everybody go
yeah,
forward in time. But anyway, that's the only other example I know of this.
took me a long time to switch with that one. And part of it was if you don't use a trackpad all the time, it can really mess with your head. So, but
Okay.
any event, so so when Apple sat down to redesign the phone app, basically, and they make what they did with Unified View, they actually made a bunch of entirely reasonable decisions, and they did think things through in ways that are better. So, you know, having fewer views, so having favorites and recents, basically means you pull up the the phone app, and you're either going to be able to call someone back or make a call to your favorite people without having to switch screens. Before you would either be on the right screen or the wrong screen. There were two choices, right? It
I
was either favorites or recents.
I don't
And so
ever
now there's
start
one
with
screen.
recents and call somebody back. Like, literally ever.
You really?
Yeah, because they're either in my
Huh.
favorites or they're a contact, so I would go find them in contacts. I wouldn't go scrolling through recents to call somebody. I would
But,
call
like,
them from
I'm sitting
contacts.
here, like the car repair place,
Yeah,
right there in recents. They've called me a couple of times today because I've had been doing this stuff. So, like, I would
yeah,
just tap that. They're in my contacts, but I'm not gonna go search for them. They're right there,
okay.
so because it's like I'm literally talking to them today. So, so that's where that goes. Um, um, and then the other thing that unified view does, which in retrospect, I think is a smart decision, is that the search button is universal. So it's on the main screen and it searches everything. It searches calls and contacts.
Hmm. Now I hadn't tried that.
Whereas in classic view, you have to, because the searches are within the screens. So the search is within recents or the search is within contacts. It only searches in those places.
So the first thing I did do search, I'm lying, it really irritated me. So my friend Diane calls me all the time, one of the few people I let call me, and I just did search, and instead of revealing her contact card, it shows me all of the recents, and that I just sit there paralyzed going, "Why is it showing me recents? I wanna call her." I mean, it's got a little blue phone icon, so I could probably crack the code that this would work, but I don't
So
what if I wanted to call her
so
landline
so
instead of her cell phone?
so the this is I think this is something which is a design decision which I think you could say is wrong. But so for instance, if I do a search on, oh, I don't know, Byard, my wife's last name, maiden name, so I get all of her family. Um, it shows calls first, then voicemails, then contacts, and on my iPhone 17, the contacts are underneath the
That's
keyboard.
what I just noticed. Yeah, I'm looking at it, and if I
So you have to tap
or
to
scroll.
load to re well, basically, yeah, you basically have to touch the screen outside the keyboard to put
Yeah,
the
so there's
keyboard
all the
away.
other Dianes in my contacts. Yeah, so
Right, right.
why I mean, she's called me 100 times, but they show me the exact correct number of recent calls such that contacts is covered up by the keyboard. It's precisely the right number of recent calls
Yeah.
to cover up the
Well, and
contacts with
so
the
I'm looking
keyboard.
in this case, I'm looking at, whether let's say my in-laws, I have calls from both Tanya's parents, voicemail from Tanya's mother, and then contacts fits perfectly. Let's see if I can do another one that's just um Tristan. I think if you get a lot of calls from someone,
No, it's designed to be
then
exactly. I just tried Steve, and it shows me 5. 5 that are recents or
oh, right,
voicemails.
but if you get less than 5,
Oh, good.
that's if
It
you
might, right?
right? Because if it's someone you talk to all the time, then it's sort of an issue. Um,
We can't
yeah,
agree.
so I'm searching on Jeffrey now. I have one contact named Jeffrey with a G, and the voicemail I got from my Tidbits reader, his name is Jeffrey with a G. And so I have calls, and then I have one call and one contact, and they show
Okay.
up above the
So you
keyboard.
got lucky.
So it is not designed to be that way. It is working out badly. And I would argue, I mean, I could easily make an argument that contacts is probably more important than calls,
I think
and
so.
should be the first one.
Yeah,
Like that would make sense to me.
right. But it turns out
Uh,
unified breaks makes it harder because because
um,
it's unified, you don't get to control that I wanna see contacts, and it's gonna show you recents first.
uh, here's an interesting question. So, what if we,
Real-time experimentation to test.
yeah,
He's studying. I'll do the voiceover here while he's looking at
Nope,
his phone.
nope, it does not do it. I was curious if you went into the context screen first and then tracked, then activated search if it would do context first, but it does not.
Okay. Well, now I know how to get to
so-
contacts is I need to swipe on the screen or touch it in some
Right.
way to disturb it.
So I think what it comes down to is, you know, are you searching? Do you know exactly what you're searching and want to go there first, or do you want to do a search and then pick what you're doing later? A lot of these things, when I was going through writing the article, it's the same amount of tabs. It's just a slightly different order.
Okay.
So because it was like a lot of them are really is like, well, actually, but if you have to go into, if you're in, so you're in classic view, for instance, and you're in the recent screen and you want to call someone, you look someone up, you have to tap contacts, then tap search, and then type your search. So you've got 2 taps just to get to there already.
Okay.
So it's sort of the same as doing your search and then tapping once to be able to see the contacts.
Efficiency and intuitiveness are 2 different things, though. I'd rather do 3 repeatable taps than 2 where I have to figure it out. I have to spend mental load going, wait a minute, how do I get there?
That's possible. Yep. I can see that.
Here's another one.
The other thing is that I think it may be kind of a mental model thing. So you have an extremely solid mental model of how the app works, and partly from history, right?
They trained me.
So, but if you don't have an extremely strong model of how the app works, then having the search front and center is, I mean, a lot of people think of Google as the internet because you just go there and you type something in and stuff shows up.
Sure.
You don't have to think about where you want to do your search.
Yeah, I live in search, so yeah, that's a good mental model change. Can I make one more whine though?
Oh, absolutely. We're going for the big one soon.
Go into Unified and start a search. Type in whatever, GEO for Jeffrey, and then exit out so that you still see the search thing on screen, and you can see at the top, mine shows my recent phone calls. How do I get back to the normal phone screen?
Hang on a second. So wait, so you do search GOE, and then I'm Xing it out.
So now you see search, the little search thing, and you see some phone calls above it, and you have see all, but there's no button to get back to the phone screen.
So there's a big X next to the search field.
Okay. Didn't see it. Yeah.
You're not seeing it?
No, I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Now that you pointed
you
me
didn't
right
see
at
it
the
before.
giant
Yeah.
X, I thought that was Xing out what was in the search field. But it wasn't inside the search field.
There's 2 X's. Right. Now this is definitely weird because so if you type GEO, you get a little X in a white X in a gray
inside
circle.
The lozenge.
It's little, and that's inside the lozenge, and then there's the big X outside the lozenge, which is basically stop the whole activity as opposed to cancel what I typed.
This is
great. Yeah, it's weird.
This is a great UI. All right. If we didn't enough lead in, we should go to the big thing you were writing about.
Well, so there's one more thing I want to point out because this is what throws me in terms of the badge. So if you turn on, you go to manage filtering, which is actually is in the settings apps phone, and you turn on unknown callers. So you're filtering unknown callers into a new list. And this applies to both views, right? This is not limited to classic or unified.
Right.
In that menu, you now have an unknown callers list.
Correct.
And the thing with the unknown callers list is that when you have that kind of filtering turned on, they will not appear in the overall calls list. Is that true? Yes.
Right. You have to go look for it to see that it's there.
Right. So you want to talk about your badge. So there's a badge, you come in, there's a badge on the icon, and you come in and I don't care which view you're in, doesn't matter. Why can I not see this? And it's because you have to go to unknown callers and see, like when you look at the menu, it'll have a parentheses and a 1 after that to say there's an unknown call. But you won't see that that call anywhere else. Normally in unified view, it would show up in the calls list, but not when it's unknown.
I like that, though. All those again, I think this might be the perspective of someone who gets calls from people they don't know and someone who gets calls from people they don't know that they really never want to talk to. But what you did teach me by going into looking at the unknown callers after filtering them out is there's an option to mark as known without adding to address book. So, for example, my husband's doctor's office called me to tell me he was ready to be picked up after something. And so it tells me who it is. It said, the medical group in this unknown callers. Well, that's an unknown caller because it's not my address book, but it's not an unidentified number. So I was able to mark it as known, but didn't have to add it to my address book because I don't need his doctor's phone number in my address book. So I hit mark as known, and now it would not be an unknown caller when they called again. That's kind of a sweet spot.
Yes. Precisely. That's a nice little bit.
Yeah, I like this.
And so that's kind of cool.
And everybody else is a 424, I'm telling you. Sorry, I did just say my area code I wasn't saying before, but whatever. They're all 424s, and the 424s, they're all fake. Okay.
No one actually lives there.
You don't like it that the unknown callers are in a separate list, even though you're choosing to filter them out. I mean, that seems like a logical thing to filter them into a separate list. That would be the side
Well, no,
effect.
I'm actually, normally speaking, I'm not. I've turned that off now.
Right, but
because I actually don't get that many. I don't get that many calls realistically, right? And so if I turn off the unknown caller filtering, and I may as well turn off spam too, because like nothing ever shows up there, right? So now when I go back to the phone app, I only have. I still get spam. No, wait, no. This UI does not change quickly. So like I turned off spam, I went back to the phone app, I tapped the menu, spam was still there. I switched to unified view, then spam disappeared.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So like this is one of the problems with this interface. So now if you turn off the filtering for both unknown callers and spam, then in classic view you only get calls. And in unified view, you get calls, missed, and voicemails.
Right.
Which are separate.
No,
separate
that's
lists.
that's interesting. So those lists don't exist in filtering unless you have filtered for them. So I've filtered for them, and I see them in the list in under the hamburger menu under unified, but you don't see them there at all. So you might think as a user, this is all that exists. Unless you went into manage filtering, which then causes those things to exist.
Right. Causes those ones.
The way filters
and Apple's
work,
been doing more of that.
Yeah.
They've been doing more of that because like Messages does the same thing.
Don't get me started on how much I hate Messages. We don't have that kind of time. Just don't want to go down that road.
So in any event, the real thing and sort of the thing that really brought me to made me like unified view is there's been something that's been true of the phone app forever, which I have hated with the burning passion of 1,000 suns. I mean, it is when you're in. Well, I'll switch to classic view, so I'm looking at the same thing. When you're in the recents list, and you're just kind of scrolling through, or you're looking at something, and you tap accidentally. You have called that person
100%,
and you are
100%,
and you are frantically trying. You are frantically trying to cancel the call. Like, do you? But no. Do you get any grace? Does it give you 2 seconds to cancel the call before it goes through? No. It makes this call so fast, and like it's so irritating. And so then, of course, the person's like, you hang up immediately, right? You're like, oh, didn't mean it. They're always like calling you back because maybe it was important, or messaging you, or it's like, do not. I hate this interface. I really hate this interface.
And that was in the classic view that happened, right?
Yeah, and that's been the way it's always been true.
Yeah.
This has been true forever in the phone app. And you'll notice there's an I button off to the side.
Yeah.
Right? And if you tap the I button, you get information on the call or the contact, right? Perfectly reasonable.
Adam, I think
So
you
what
just need to change
unified
your mindset. I think you
so here's the rule. If you ever miss tap and call someone, you have to talk to them.
Oh, no, 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 no.
There we go. So proper mindset. So in unified view, you switch to unified view. Now look at that list again.
Oh.
You don't see a row of I buttons going down the side. You see a row of phone buttons.
Yeah. So phone means
And
call them. Tap means
right.
don't call
And
them.
tapping anywhere else is show me more information about this call or voicemail or whatever.
Oh, shoot. Now I got to learn to like unified view, don't I?
You don't.
What?
There's yet one more horrible bit of interface here, but it's in your favor. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I take it back. You do have to like unified view. Sorry. I got it completely wrong. Okay, but let's say you're wrong and you like it when tapping anywhere calls the person back.
Okay, yes, I love that.
You like that interface from Classic
I like
View.
to talk to people.
Right. You like to talk to people. And now whenever you call someone accidentally, you have to apologize in person.
And ask them how their life is.
Didn't mean to talk to you. I didn't actually want to call you at all. It was an accident.
I never want to call you.
I never want to call you. I don't even like you. Okay. So you're in unified view, right?
Mhm.
Make sure you're in unified
Okay,
view.
I am.
Okay. Now, if you've been doing this like I have, you can swipe over to the settings app, and you're in phone.
Mhm. Oh, I was. I
Now,
lost it.
we were tapping manage filtering, so it's kind of strolled us down,
Yeah.
right, to the filtering area.
Huh?
Scroll up.
Okay. By the way, I've always wondered what people mean by up versus down, but anyway, drag your finger from the top of the screen down.
Right.
Okay.
Go higher in the screen.
There you go.
You will now see between haptics and hold assist detection a new setting called tap recents to call.
Oh.
And it's off, which is the correct setting.
Okay, so that's if you like everything about unified view and want to be one of the cool new hip kids, you go with unified
like
view,
me.
but you liked tapping to call people you never wanted to talk to accidentally, you can toggle this on.
Because you're wrong.
Because you're wrong. You can turn this toggle on to tap recents to call.
To accidentally call everyone with a tap.
I got to see what the interface looks like if I do that. Let me see. Oh, it changed it to an
exactly
eye.
like Classic. Yeah, it changes. It looks exactly
I don't like that.
It looks exactly like Classic.
Got to turn it off.
Hey, there's actually something different. I have some voicemails at the top, and they have a little voicemail icon to the right instead of the eye.
If you have tap recents to call on?
Yeah, because in fact, what I want to do is I want to listen to the voicemail, and so it's a little, well, it's interpretive, but I understood it to mean rules of tape.
Okay. Oh, I've deleted all my voicemails because I don't want to talk to those people. Okay.
You don't even want to hear from those people, man.
Nope.
Someone who talks on podcasts a lot, you sure are.
I just don't like
anti-phone.
I don't like the phone. So that tap recents to call toggle, we can't turn that off in Classic View.
So here's the thing. Switch to Classic View.
Okay. We should have told everybody this was an audience participation game, but okay.
Yeah, this is like follow along.
Right.
Okay. Now immediately swipe back to settings. It's not just gone. You can see it disappear.
Yeah, because it was there. That one goes quickly, but not quite quickly enough. You can catch it.
No, the fact that you can see interface disappearing under your nose is a bad thing.
Yeah, I suppose so.
But why? But where did it go? Why can't I see it in Classic View? Well, why I'm in a different app. I'm not in. What does Classic View have to do with settings? I'm in settings. Like, come on.
So that gets back to how they have made these settings adaptive. You and I were talking before we started recording about some setting, and without even thinking, I opened it up on my Mac, and I'm like, I don't see it. And then I realized, it's not. It's because I need to be on the phone. So they are different by context. seemingly same-ish settings, but if you don't have a phone,
but that's context by device.
True.
Context by a button that you pushed in another app,
or in the same app.
No, in another app, because remember that's the phone app is where you change classified and unified. The settings app is where you see the tap recents to call option.
Yeah, but I was saying you've got two different things you've done within the same app. In one case, a button exists way over here in settings, and in the other case, it disappears as you look for it.
I mean, it would be like changing something on your phone and having a setting disappear on your Mac.
Yeah.
What the hell? I mean, come on.
And seeing it disappear.
Yeah. No, that one's not for you.
Wow. Yeah. Well, so having that off, you may have talked me, and now that I understand more of how unified view works, I feel like I need to write this whole thing up as a blog post too of how to use, or have you already done that one of the difference between the two and how to control them?
Yeah. There's a big long article on Tidbits about that.
Okay.
And so here's the thing about this is the other one. You see in unified view, you get these contact posters for your favorites.
Yeah, no, you did a thing on contact posters, and
that's why I did the thing on contact posters, because I didn't have any.
Well, so my eyes started to bleed, my across and everything, and my brain hurt trying to read it because. So what he's talking about contact posters. Let's go if you're in unified view, across the top you see the little posters, but I thought for each person, but I thought the people had to create their own. Isn't that true? Or can you create them for people?
You can create them for people. Well, and sometimes they'll stick. They won't always stick because it's buggy beyond belief.
Okay.
But I mean, no one else can see this, but I can show you. If I can hold it.
Yeah.
See, I have these nice pictures for my favorites. The one for Tanya, which is a great picture of Tanya, keeps disappearing. I don't know why. I can't say why. But basically, most of us have the avatars, the little circles.
Yeah.
For our contacts, and there's lots of different ways to get those. So you can make them yourself for your contacts, but there's various different ways to get them as well. So automatically people can give them to you, or they can be picked up from Facebook from years ago, or from Google Contacts recently, things like that. But when you've got this little contact poster interface in unified view, it doesn't look very good with the avatars.
No, it looks terrible.
And so it's a real encouragement to say, oh, I'm going to make a contact poster for, my son and my father and my brother and things like that. So basically you want to talk about rabbit holes. So I was like, this unified view, I don't like it. That was where I started, honestly. I mean, I literally had to go back and rewrite my intro. I was making all sorts of snide comments about 20-something developers, working on apps for those of us who actually care about the phone. And I'm like, damn. And after I went through everything, I'm like, it's better. It's like they made some good decisions here. But that got into the contact posters, because it turns out, wow, are those tricky to do? And very, very few people have made them. And conveyed them to you, and then that got into Paul Kafasis, Brogamoeba, the guy who was like, "Hey, there's a setting that comes and goes." And I'm like, "Seriously?" Because I'd never gone up in the phone app. I'd never looked up higher. It wasn't until he noticed it, that coming and going, that we realized that was changing. So it's been this kind of ongoing saga
of trying to find. It shouldn't be this hard, right?
I just want to make a phone call, damn it. Remember we used to just pick up the phone?
But it cost $2 a minute back then for long distance, Adam.
Yeah, we didn't get to call long distance when I was a kid.
Oh.
It was too expensive.
I've told this story before, but I just love this so much. My father was cheap because he lived through the Depression. Even when he had money, he wouldn't spend a dime he didn't have to. And my whole life, I was raised to be an engineer. I was going to be an engineer from birth. It was just my destiny, according to him. And so I went away to engineering school, and I'd been there for about 2 weeks. And he calls me long distance. And I figure, mom's been in a car accident for sure. That's the only reason
something horrible.
He would spend $2 a minute, but he didn't. He called me to tell me to quit engineering school because plumbers make more money. He just had to pay a plumber. Oh, I just love that story. I've told it 100 times. So I've put a link in the show notes to how to set contact avatars and posters on the iPhone and comparing the classic and unified views in iOS 26's phone app, which Adam already wrote up so I don't get to. Dang it.
Oh, believe me, you don't want to do this. This is definite, like, just like you're flipping back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth,
two
trying
phones,
to figure out what's different. Well, I do hear. When I was writing the article, I was actually on an airplane.
Oh no!
So I was just just flipping back and forth. And then there's the last article about the hidden phone app setting.
Yeah, that's right. That's the main one we're talking about here.
Yeah. So anyway, I mean, I in general, I'm a fan of options. I like settings. I like to be able to say, well, the right way to do it is. But I do feel like some of this stuff's gone a little far in terms of, options. They shouldn't be coming and going. It's turning the phone app into a video game, and we're the least likely audience, those of us who use the phone app, to want it to be a video game.
Yeah, literally none of us. It is adventurous. and I think a lot about when I meet with my family and they come up to me and go, hey, how does this work? I don't understand. What did you do to me? I mean, when iOS 26, all the 26s came out, I begged them not to update for a little while. And then I told them when they were allowed to. And, a couple of them go, shut up, Allison. I'm going to do what I want. They did whatever they wanted. And that's fine. But for the ones who are going to come to me and go, wait a minute, what did you make me do here? Because it's your fault when your family gets something they don't like. It is 100% our fault, right?
Well, and so often, my parents will come to me and have some question, and I'm like, let me look. Because it's not like I can't remember where that setting has gone. I mean, like your mind map isn't the iPhone, but it's still the same thing. I was like, all right, it's in there somewhere. I'm not sure where, but I can probably fix it.
I wish you the best of luck using search to find it.
Yeah, right, precisely. So that's never going to work. But yeah, so much of this stuff is just hard. And I mean, if only we'd get, the Siri that we were promised, because, that's, you should be able to ask the iPhone where its own frickin' settings are.
Yeah. Yeah. I do find I'm using AI more often to ask those kind of questions, but you got to be real specific. In iOS 26.1, do not talk to me about previous I don't want to hear about iOS 18. No, stop it. And, 8 out of 10 times it tells you the truth. And, the other 20% of the time it just makes something up that isn't at all true and never was. But you've got a better shot than using search on the iPhone.
So the place I've been using that fairly successfully, I mean, the same basic success rate you've been having, is if you use Dia or ChatGPT Atlas or probably Comet, one of the ones with an AI sidebar.
Browser. Yeah.
Because I do a fair amount of like managing servers. So I have a Cloudways account and a Cloudflare account, and basically these incredible dashboards for managing stuff where I kind of know what I'm doing, but I'm not an expert.
Right.
Like
finding the setting repeatedly.
I hit some right, and I'm like, and I was like, where the hell is this? And basically being able to talk to the AI, and it will confidently tell you something that's not true. And by having it in the sidebar, you can say, I don't see that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was like, oh, I'm sorry, that was the previous version or something like that.
I'm sorry, I made that up.
I made that up. I mean, I will admit though that with these web apps, the interfaces do change so frequently.
True.
And yet they were all documented. Right? So it probably was that way at some point.
Maybe.
Because the company would have documented it. It would have brought it into the training model. It was like, this is it. I have the training data. Well, yeah, but that was last year. It's changed now.
Yeah. Maybe. So it needs to tell it to forget what it knew last week. Learn again.
So my big one is confirm with a search.
Yeah. Yeah.
I say every time, confirm with a search.
And being careful to pay attention to how critical is the incorrect answer. In the case of what you're talking about, if you ask it, where do I change the MX record for this server? and it tells you, and you go in there and it's not there, there was no danger to it being wrong. That was just, nope,
Right.
you just wasted my time. That's all it was, as opposed to,
Right.
hey, change that MX record to this, it'll work. And then you find out it's not.
There's a story going around about someone who used Claude Code, and I don't quite understand this because this doesn't match with how I believe things are set up, but apparently there is a Claude Code, like a way you can install it so it is not limited to a directory, and there's like a live dangerously mode so you don't have to like confirm everything. And apparently went and deleted it, most of the guys Mac with RM-F kind of thing.
No,
so,
we're supposed to be the ones who do that. That's a human. Yeah, right. We should still be the ones who get to accidentally erase everything, right?
I was going to say, come on. There's the classic phrase which to err is human, but to really screw up requires a computer. So can't take the erring away from us.
There you go. Well, I think we've covered our whining that we had scheduled, but before we close here, I want to make sure the audience realizes that Tidbits is predominantly reader supported, as in 93% reader supported. The fine folks, and especially Adam, have been writing long-form, thoughtful content about the Apple world for 35 years. Makes my 20 years look silly. Anyway, I'm a newcomer here. But if you appreciate Adam being on Chit Chat Across the Pond once a month, be like me and support the work at Tidbits by going to the membership page, link in the show notes, to sign up for as little as $20 a year. You get a bunch of discounts and free stuff and better access to the notes and everything. I think it's a great investment, and I want Tidbits to keep going, and I want Adam to be able to keep coming on the show here. So if you like him, this time I'm not going to say support me, support him over at tidbits.com. How's that, Adam? He didn't make me do that either.
I'm sitting here blushing, in fact. So,
all right. Well, I look forward to seeing you again in the new year.
Indeed, 2026. What could go wrong?
It's got to be better.
It's not a good. It's got 2026. It's got to be better. There we go. That's a better slogan.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of Chit Chat Across the Pond. Did you notice there weren't any ads in the show? That's because this show is not ad supported. It's supported by you. If you learned something, or maybe you were just entertained, consider contributing to the Podfeed podcast. You can do that by going over to podfeed.com and look for the big red button that says support the show. When you click that button, you're going to find different ways to contribute. You can donate one time through the big donate button with a credit card or Apple Pay, or you can use PayPal. If you want to make a recurring contribution, click the Patreon button. Keep in mind, I don't charge Patreon for Chit Chat Across the Pond or Programming by Stealth episodes, just once a month for the NosillaCast. That keeps it simple. If you want to contact me for any reason, you can email me at allison@podfeed.com, and you can follow me on Mastodon at podfeed.com/Mastodon. Maybe you want to talk to other NosillaCastaways? You can do that in our Slack group at podfeed.com/Slack. Thanks for listening, and stay subscribed.